and welcome to Living in the Netherlands. I'm your host, Lerize Weatherhead. In today's two-part episode, we're diving into what it's like moving to the Netherlands from South Africa as a mom of a child with special needs. I'm joined by Jesica Liebenberg, an international recruiter at IR Olaf's Globetrotters, and a mom who's made the move herself, as well as Elizette Nel, an immigration consultant from Expat Relocation and Immigration Services, who helped her through it all. Let's jump in. Hi everybody, this is Lerize Weatherhead. I'm from IR Olaf's Globetrotters, and you're listening to Living in the Netherlands. Today I'm joined by Jesica Liebenberg and Elizette Nel, and we're doing a special episode about moms in the Netherlands, or South African moms in the Netherlands, with special needs kids. Jesica, would you like to introduce yourself, tell a bit more about your situation for our audience?
Yes. So my name is Jesica Liebenberg. I'm an international recruiter / happiness officer here at IR Olaf's Globetrotters. And I recently immigrated with my whole family from South Africa to the Netherlands. I have a special needs boy. His name is Bjorn. Very, very sweet boy. But Bjorn has got developmental delay, as well as epilepsy, some autism, touch of anything you can imagine, basically. So for us, it was quite a big journey to move over to the Netherlands. Very stressful as well. In South Africa, you're kind of used to the care and everything that you get there. So to try and imagine what a new life would be with new care, different country, all of that, very difficult. But happy to be here today.
Wonderful to have you here. And somebody who really helped you through that entire journey was Elizette Nel from Expat Relocations and Immigration Services. Elizette, I'm going to hand over the mic so you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Lerize. Yes, and thank you for having me. As Lerize said, my name is Elizette Nel. I'm an immigration consultant, and I have my own business, Expat Relocation and Immigration Services. But this is my second job. My first job in South Africa, I was an educational psychologist, and I worked at a school for children with special needs. And I still have a passion to assist families and children with special needs along the way. So when I started my business, I also started helping families like Jesica with little Bjorn to navigate the whole integration into the Netherlands, finding schooling, medical care, just helping them to navigate those first few weeks or months after arrival to get the needed support for their children.
And Elizette, can you give us a basic outline of what this process would look like for other moms? I know for each it might be unique circumstances, a little bit more individualized, but what would be the basic structure of step-by-step they should be looking at?
So I think, as you said, Lerize, it is different. For each person, it's different. The big thing is, or the big question in the first place is, what kind of schooling a child needs. So some children with special needs can be included in mainstream schooling.
Yes.
The Netherlands has what's called passend onderwijs. In South Africa, we call it inclusive education. It's a bill that was passed, and the first level of support is always within a mainstream. Then if a child cannot cope in a mainstream, and if there's a history already in South Africa of a child not being able to cope with mainstream, then one can start looking at special needs schooling. There are different types of special needs schooling in the Netherlands, depending on the child's level of or need for support. And also the level of functioning at that stage.
Or their disability.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So there are different types of special needs schools. So my role initially when parents contact me is to ask for all reports.
Yes.
to go through the reports. And with that knowledge, with my knowledge of being an educational psychologist within special needs education in South Africa, reading reports, getting a picture of who is this little one that we're dealing with, and my knowledge of the Dutch education system and what is available, what is what can be offered, I can then point the parents in the right direction and say, okay, for your child, this would be the route. We will contact the school first. So for some children, it would be contacting a school, but for some children, it would be contacting another body. And I will talk about the different people that are involved. Maybe could we use Bjorn's situation as an example? So I spoke to Jessica. She sent me all the reports and everything from Bjorn, so I could see what his needs were. There were medical needs, there were needs for different types of therapy, and there were schooling needs. And in his case, or in any child's case, but for him, then we prioritize what is the main need. And in his case, we wanted him to be included into some kind of rehabilitation, medical. So the medical system was a priority.
Very important.
With the schooling, but medical. So then I contacted the rehabilitation center in close to where Jessica and her family would live. So then the first step is always the huisarts. In the Netherlands, you have to register with the doctor first. So we already booked the huisarts appointment. We already arranged for enrollment at registration at huisartspraktijk. So that the moment they arrived, they could have their huisarts appointment. They could get the referral to the rehabilitation center, and the therapies could start. Or the process could start to get onto waiting lists and to determine what therapies are needed. And but the huisarts also referred you to the hospital.
And to the hospital. I think what is also quite important is that you know where this family will be staying.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't know where they will be staying, you cannot even look into all of the other things. So that is the first priority. Where will you stay?
Absolutely.
Then we can start looking, all right, here's a huisarts, and then from there we can get started.
Absolutely. It's a very valid point, because all these, obviously the Netherlands is a first world country. There is money allocated to support children and families. Different from South Africa. In South Africa, a lot of the support and the therapies and the that parents need to make use of, children need, parents have to pay for it.
Yes, or it comes via the medical aid, right?
But because the way the funding is managed in the Netherlands, it's managed through the local municipality or the gemeente. So the first, it's like a relay race where die scooter kan afgaan the moment that you have your BSN number, or the moment that we know where you're going to live, because no one's going to even look at an application or anything unless they know that this is the gemeente where the family is going to live, so we're going to get our money from that
gemeente. And I remember so clearly, we just landed. So Elizette, before we even got here, you already, because I told you, all right, this is where we were going to live. And we were quite lucky to secure a home quite early in the process, right? So by the time we got here, you already filled in forms at different places, and you helped me create a file on Bjorn and all of that. That was amazing. Because when we got here, the gemeente was already had knowledge of us coming here. So immediately within our first appointment at the gemeente, they already identified and said, oh, this is Bjorn and you are the Liebenbergs, right? So they were already starting to get involved, which was great, which was really amazing. But it is exactly what you said. It all starts with the huisarts, with the doctor, right? Because you need to go to the doctor and then say, all right, I need a referral for ABC. And then the doctor refers you, you get your appointments, and then you start having your intakes with all of these different organizations. So for Beyond, it was with Miriam, which is very important. That was for the therapy and all of that. And then the doctor also referred us to the Wilhelmina Kinderziekenhuis, which is an amazing hospital.
Pediatric hospital in Utrecht.
Yes. To try and get a sort of closure on his diagnosis.
Yeah.
Because with Bjorn, which is a bit different in his story, is that in South Africa, we didn't really have a concrete diagnosis. Right? Because each and every doctor had something different to say. So when we got here, in order to get all of the other supports and everything we can out of the gemeente, we did need to get that. So that all started, 7 months ago?
Yes, absolutely.
And it was crazy, but yeah.
Yeah.
I
And I remember
agree.
when you first came here, I said to you, start keeping a spreadsheet because you're going to get so many people, you're going to get into contact with so many people, and this one, and then Maury is going to phone you, and then Johnny is going to phone you, and then you're going to speak, and you're going to get, just
confused.
get confused,
I know.
and it's so overwhelming. So when someone speaks to you, write down their names, write down what they say, where they're from, and ask me, what is this now? Because there are so many people involved. And then also you have a track record. So when you go to the Huisarts, or when you go to Mirum, which is a rehabilitation center, where it's a center where they offer different types of therapy, then you have your spreadsheet and your names, and you can tell them. Otherwise, what very often happens, duplication. So you've already seen this doctor, but if there's no record of it, you can be referred to another neurologist or this or that. And I think that also helped the people who were helping you, the different role players, to know, okay, I don't need to
communicate
refer to
with each other
because you've already been there, or you already have an appointment.
What I find so interesting here in the Netherlands is that everything is intertwined. Like all of the reports and everything that I received from the doctors, each and everyone working on Beyond's case can access that.
It's like a central medical
folder. It's insane, actually. Like that's not something that happens at all in South Africa, right? You have to manually give your reports and give all of the information, where here, if I go and see a new doctor for Beyond, they're like, oh, I see you've been here. That's amazing. And I love that. It just makes it so much more seamless and easier.
And then, so the one, in Bjorn's case, the one big need, as we said, was the medical and physical needs, but then also schooling. So we had to look at schooling. And then in the Netherlands, the first point of call in any gemeente is what is called the Samenwerkingsverband. So the Samenwerkingsverband is the designated government department. In each gemeente has a different Samenwerkingsverband that they work for or work with. They are the purse keepers. So they get money from the central government to support children with special needs within that gemeente. So no special needs school is going to admit a child unless the Samenwerkingsverband gave what is called a toelaatbaarheidsverklaring. TVV needs to be given by the Samenwerkingsverband. And that means this child is a candidate for this school. So if the child is placed at that school, we will provide the money. So in addition to contacting the rehabilitation center and the doctor, we also made contact with the Samenwerkingsverband. We sent all Bjorn's reports, and then in Bjorn's case, they arranged a meeting with Jesica and Eben and Bjorn. They did an assessment, and then from that, they then say, this is our recommendation in terms of which school would be an applicable placement for the child. So that is pretty much in any gemeente. So when it's about schooling, it's always the Samewerkingsverband where you start.
Yes.
The different gemeentes do it differently. So, for instance, I recently worked with the Samewerkingsverband in Tilburg. They were wonderful. The clients didn't even have an address yet. They just were thinking we might be living in Tilburg.
Yeah.
I contacted Samewerkingsverband. The reports were sent through. They already had an online meeting. They already made recommendations. The child was already on a waiting list.
Wow.
But then they didn't end up getting a house in Tilburg.
No.
So they ended up finding a house in a different gemeente. So we started the whole process again. I also recently worked with a family in The Hague, which was a nightmare because in The Hague, for instance, our very first point of call for that family was also to first get a referral to a rehabilitation centre for the little one. But we couldn't, in the whole of The Hague, there was no huisarts that take in new clients.
Oh, no.
So in that case...
And that's happening right now here in the Netherlands, right?
So all of a sudden, that is our challenge, to find a huisarts, because without a referral, the child cannot start with therapy or cannot even be placed on a waiting list for therapy.
Yes.
So again, it's so dependent on which gemeente you end up living in.
Yeah.
What the challenges might be. But then it's always nice to at least know who are the people that you need to contact or the organizations that would become involved.
Yes, no, definitely.
So I remember talking to you earlier during the office hours and stuff about the waiting list.
Yes.
With the gemeentes, there's a lot of waiting involved.
Yes.
That's why it's so important to start as early as possible, but it does still require a lot of patience.
Oh, yes.
Are there still things that you as a parent can maybe do, work on, prepare while you're waiting for the various steps through the process? Or is it just a case of hold on, breathe,
yes,
and wait for the call?
Yeah. So that's waiting can be frustrating. Yes. I'm not gonna lie. It's difficult, but every time I get frustrated, I remind myself that the schooling is free. The care that they provide is free. We don't pay for that, right? So it will take time, and it all comes from the government and from the gemeente. And in order to get that, you have to go through these processes and you have to follow it step by step, right? So if I compare that back to South Africa, a special needs school for Bjorn would cost us 10,000 rand, you know?
Like a month?
A month, 10,000 rand a month, where here you get better education, better schools, and you don't pay for that. It's covered with the Child Act, you know. So I just then remind myself, okay, breathe. It's gonna be okay. You're following the processes. You're taking it step by step, and it will come right. It komt goed. But yeah, the waiting can be frustrating, definitely. You get to a point where you want to pull your hair out of your head and just say, please, just come on, you know. But yeah, I must say all of the organizations that I have been working with are really amazing people. They are in it for the passion. They're not in it for the money, definitely not. And they really care about getting to know you, getting to know your family, your situation, and they really try their absolute best to assist you as much as possible.
And I think just to add, my impression is also that they are also frustrated with the long waiting list. It's not because they don't do their job that the waiting lists are long. It's really just the reality of what is available.
Exactly.
And they do try and assist each and every child as soon as possible.
Yes,
but
they do.
Within the limitations of waiting lists.
That's the end of part 1. In part 2, we'll explore what support systems are available for families, how things compare to South Africa, and Jessica and Elizette's advice for parents making this move. Don't miss it. Tune in for part 2.